A lot of times we need to deal with strings. As we have seen before, strings are a sequence of characters and they are very useful. Now we want to talk about the string functions. In PHP, there are many built-in functions that help us work with these strings, and they are very powerful. For the sake of this tutorial, we are going to send a text through different functions and learn what those functions do. So let's get started. This is our original text. Let's say my text is, I don't know, this is a sample text. This is a sample text. That's it. Now if I echo my text, my plus PHP end of line, I will get PHP index.php. This is a sample text. Perfect. The very first functions that we want to apply to this text is string to array. Sometimes we need to convert our strings to array. So for example, if we have a comma separated text, we want to convert it to an array. Sometimes we have a text like this and we want to convert it to array and get each word. So let's see how we can do it. We can do this with the help of a function called explode. The very first argument of this function is a separator. Where do we want PHP to slice our text? For example, here I want to slice each word. So I want to find the spaces and use them as separators, so that way I will get different words as different items in my array. Okay? And the next argument is the string itself. Here we have the text. And this text, we can limit it, but this last argument is not required. This is optional if we want to limit it. For example, if I want to take only the first 20 characters and the rest is okay, I don't want to slice them up, I want to put the rest of the text as just one item in my array. But here, because we don't want to apply any limit, I don't specify that. Okay, this will return an array. So let me string to array. Okay, this will be an array now. So let's see if we can print this out to see how it looks like. So first we have the original text, then we converted it to an array with the help of this function explode. This explode took space as separator and find each space, and then each part becomes an item in the array. If we had, for example, comma separated text, we could specify comma as a separator. Here, let's see the result. As you can see, this is my original text and the array is, this is a sample text. Each one is an item in the text and I can work with that later. Now let's reverse that action. I want my string back. How can we do that? We can do that with the help of a function called implode. Implode takes a separator. What is this? This is the character or string that we use to join all these items in our array together. I want to join them again with a space. Okay, perfect. And the second argument is the array itself. Here I want the string to array variable to be converted back to a string. I want to save it in a variable called array to string. Implode will return a string to me, so I can again echo that out. Echo array to string. And let me add a end of line. Perfect. If I echo that out, this was our original text, then we turned it to array, and now it's back to string. Sometimes we want to convert all the characters in our string to uppercase. We can do that easily in PHP. All we need to do is to use the function string to upper, str to upper, and it takes a string as the argument. Here is array to string. It will return a string where all the characters have been changed to uppercase. I want to store that in a variable called uppercase text equals to str to upper. Now let's see how it looks like. PHP index.php. As you can see, this was the text before applying that function, and this is the new text. This is a sample text, all in uppercase. Okay, perfect. Now let's change it back to lowercase. How we can do that? As you've guessed, all we need to do is to apply a string to lower. And again, it takes a string. Here our string is uppercase text. It will return a string, and this return string will be in lowercase. All the characters will be changed to lowercase. So let's see, let's store that in a variable called lowercase equals to this, and let's echo that out. Because it's in a string, we can easily echo it and the end of line. As you can see, we change it to upper and then we change it to lowercase again. Sometimes we want to uppercase the very first letter only. For example, if we have a word, if we want to have the first word of a sentence to be in uppercase, we can easily do that. In PHP, there is a function called UCFirst. This UCFirst gets a string and changes the first character, first letter to uppercase. So let's see. I want to pass lowercase text as an argument and then store that in UCFirst text equals to this, and then let's echo that out to see how it looks. As you can see, the very first character has become an uppercase letter. This is very good, as I said, when we want to have the very first letter in a sentence as uppercase, or if I want to change the first letter of a name and surname or the company name and things like that. This function is very useful. But sometimes we have a title. For example, in our blog, we have a title. We want to uppercase the very first letter of every word, not just the first word. What can I do? In PHP, there is a function UCWords. UCWords. It takes a string as an argument, and then it will change the very first letter of all the words in that string to uppercase letter. So let's see how it works. Here, my UCFirst text, as you can see, had only the first letter as uppercase. Now I want to change the first letter of all the words. And I want to store that in a variable called UCWords equals to this. And then I want to echo that out. Echo UCWords. Let's see how it looks like. This is a sample text. As you can see, it has changed all the first letters to uppercase. And it's very good when we want to change the text to a title, for example, title of a blog. This works perfectly fine. Now, sometimes we get some text that is not cleaned up because, for example, somebody has given us a text like echo, for example, hello. For whatever reason, they have so many spaces on the both sides. We want to clean that out and change it to something like hello. How can we do that? First, let me change this UC word to a annoying text like that. We can apply this much space. We can apply space like this on both sides, and as you know, we can concatenate strings in PHP with dots. So let's concatenate space on both sides. So first, let's echo the annoying word with all the spaces, and then let's clean that up. We can do that in PHP with a function called trim. This will get in a string, and then it will remove all the spaces from both sides. And I want to store it in a variable called trimmed text equals to trim UC words. Let's echo that out again. Let's see how it looks. This is a sample text. As you can see, it has a lot of space, but here it has removed all the spaces and returned a very clean string. The next one is a very useful one. Sometimes we are dealing with texts that are not HTML, and these texts have new lines, but as you know, in HTML this is not a new line character. We should add break for new line characters. So if we want to change that manually in our string, it would be terrible. But there is a function in PHP that will take care of that for us and changes all these new line characters to BR. So our text in HTML would be multi-lined like the original text. Let me first change my text that we had here to something with those lines. For example, I can say trim text equals to trim text plus n, and this is the second line. Let me echo that out to see how was the original text and how would be the change text. How can we change this to break tag in HTML? Easy, we can do that with new line to break, NL to BR. It takes the string and it will change all those new line characters to break tags. So let's store that in a variable called new line to break equals to this, and then I want to echo that out to see the result. Let's see here. This is my original text, and as you can see, it had a new line character, and that's why in my terminal I see this in a new line. But in HTML it wouldn't show up like this, it would show up right after each other. But with this function it has changed that new line to a break, and now this will be shown like a multi-line text in HTML as well. Let me show you this part in my browser so you can see the difference. Here, as you can see, the new line character didn't have any effect in our HTML code, and it shows right after the next one. But here, because we changed the new line character to break, we can see that in HTML it is in the new line as well. So it's a very useful function. The next function that we want to talk about is super useful. Sometimes we need to remove all the HTML tags. That includes like paragraph, all the divs, all the breaks, all the spans, everything. And there is a function in PHP that can help us with that. It's called strip tags. Strip underline tags. It's super useful. We can pass in a string. Here, for example, we had this new line to break. Let's add some other tags to it as well. New line to break is equal to new line to break concatenated with, let's say we have a div. Let's just close that, and inside the div we have a paragraph, and we have, hey, this is inside the paragraph. Now if I print this out, I'll see that there are so many tags, HTML tags, including these divs and paragraph and the break tag that we have added. Now I want to strip all of them. Let's store that in a variable called strip tags equals to this, and then let's echo the final result to see how it looks. Let me run the text. Okay, this is the second line, div and paragraph. This is inside the paragraph. There was a break. Now here, this is a sample text. This is the second line. This is inside the paragraph. Perfect. Now, as you can see, it has removed all the tags, including break, div, and paragraph. There is no tag here anymore. And we have reached the end of these functions. There are many more functions in PHP, but these are the functions that are super useful. So let me run the file again and let's review what we have learned so far. At first we had these original text, then we changed it to an array, and then we changed it back to a string. We learned how to use a string to uppercase all the letters, then we change it back to lower. Then we change the very first letter to uppercase letter, then we change the first letter in all the words, and then we have removed all the spaces from the beginning and the end of our text, and we cleaned that up. Then we learned to change the new line character to a break, and then we learned how to remove all the HTML tags from our text. Perfect. Now let's go to the next section.